5 years ago, my husband proposed to me, so get ready with me as I tell you the story. So quick backstory, I was working as a nurse at the time and I was working night shift, and then I had to work every other weekend. And my boyfriend at the time had told me that he was gonna propose before the end of the year. And I also knew that he was very likely gonna propose on a weekend. So he knew that I was making plans basically every weekend because I was trying to figure out which one he was gonna propose to me on. So he had one of our friends reach out and ask if we wanted to go and get brunch with them. We said absolutely, so he comes over to my apartment, he picks me up, and we start heading over to brunch. While we're driving over there, we get a text from this friend saying, oh my gosh, they messed up our reservation. We're gonna have to wait 45 minutes to get in. But then they said, you know what, let's just go to a nearby park called Gasworks Park and let's just walk around for a bit while we wait for our reservation. Also, fun fact, Gasworks Park is where me and Chris first met, so it was obviously very special to us. We get to the park with the second couple and we start walking around, and pretty quickly the wife of this couple says, hey, I have to go to the bathroom. And then immediately the husband is like, hey, I'll take you over there. This is when I kind of started thinking, oh my gosh, what if this is the surprise? And Gasworks Park have this huge hill that you have to walk up, and then you go to the top and you have this beautiful scenery of Seattle. So of course he's like, hey, let's walk up to the top of the hill. And we get to the very top and I look at him and I say, what are you doing? And he says, you know what I'm doing, just soak the moment in. He had surprised me by flying out one of my best friends who was in California, and she and another one of my friends had gone and set up this really sweet like blanket and sign at the top of this hill. To me over there, he gets down on one knee, he said a bunch of stuff that I really don't even remember, just something about wanting to build a life together. And then he asked me to marry him, and I immediately just said yes. But I was so close to him and I kept like pulling him in that that the photos when he was proposing to me is basically he's like this. After he proposes to me, a bunch of our friends and family were actually hiding on the other side of the hill, so then they ran up to congratulate us once we got engaged. He had also paid for a photographer to be there, so she was snapping pics the whole time, and I was just trying to take everything in. I was just trying to soak in the moment. So then she sends all of our friends and family off, and she's like, let me just get a few photos of you two. And so I'm like, Chris, we need to get back to the restaurant. And he looks at me and he's like, honey, I love you so much, but we're not going there. He's like, I actually have an entire brunch after party surprise for you at a completely different restaurant. So once we're done taking photos, he drives me over to another restaurant and there's even more friends there. The experience was so fun, and once everything had kind of died down and everyone had left, we actually ended up going back to my apartment, and then we were just able to soak in the moment as the two of us. And then that night we went out for pizza, which is really emblematic because we actually got pizza on our very first date, so everything about that whole day was just very intentional around our relationship as a couple. It was so sweet, and it was truly just one of the best days of my life. So that is how my husband proposed to me. Bye!